Welcome! I'm Marina Madden. This is Madden Takeover. Welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be discussing a book called A Separate Peace. There it is. Hopefully, if I can edit it in, if I know how to do that, I'll figure it out. So there it is. A Separate Peace by John Knowles. Now this book is about two boys. Their names are Gene and Finney. And they go to boarding school in New Hampshire during the 1940s, so this is during the World War II. They're juniors in high school, and they're doing a summer semester, so they're just about to be seniors, and after senior year, they can enlist to go into the war. And so they're trying to make the summer count, and they're trying to have the most fun they can, and the rules are out the window pretty much that whole summer. And so they do some stupid boy things like, joining clubs, making clubs, and jumping out of trees, and dangerous things that people in a boarding school would do. The book is about an incident that happens during that summer, and it's a very unfortunate incident. So after the incident happens, everything pretty much unfolds and unravels, and until it comes to a very dramatic ending. And that's all I'm really going to say about the book. If you want to go read the book and not be spoiled by me, go read the book. I'm going to talk about it later. After, so if you don't want to be spoiled, stop the video right now. Just stop. I won't be offended. Stop the video. Okay. So, if you're here, then you probably have read the book. The first thing I'm going to talk about are the themes of this book. So one of the themes in this novel is war. The war is going on around them, and they're just kids, and they're so close to being a part of the war, and they know that. And so it's always in the back of their brain that they're going to have to enlist, and they might die, but to serve their country, that's going to be an honor to the adults anyway. The war does play a big role in the book, especially towards the end. Another theme of this book would be denial, because the two main characters, I think, are in denial throughout like half this book. First of all, Finney is in denial because when Gene did come to him and confess that he was the one that caused the accident, he just totally blocked out in his whole brain, just no reconciliation of that memory at all, and he's just like, oh yeah, I'm back. You're still my best friend, Gene. Nothing ever happened. And Gene doesn't want to believe that he did it on purpose, that he meant to hurt Finney, when I think in his heart of hearts that he really did want to hurt him. The theme I'm going to talk about is trust. So if Gene had just trusted that Finney was the person that he was and was his best friend, then this book would have never happened. Like, Gene wasn't so envious and wasn't so jealous of what Finney had. If he just trusted that he was a decent person in his heart and that he was his best friend, he meant it, not just to try to overtake him and be the smartest and the most athletic in the school, because that was not Finney's intention at all, then he would have never ended up hurting Finney, and everything would be okay. It would be all okay. It would have all been okay. But yeah, so that's another theme. So here's my reaction to the book. First, let's talk about the tree. Okay, so they're going into the tree, and it's Finney's idea that they jump off together, which is a really dumb idea because from what I can read, the tree branch is very, very brittle. And it could just break at any second. And hey, let's jump off of it together. But he's Finney, and he's a sweet guy, and he's just trying to have some fun before he has to risk his life for the war. So, when I read that he jousts the limb, I was confused at first. I thought that when he was holding on, he was scared, and that his knees buckled because he was scared, and that he jousts the limb because his knees buckled because he was scared. Not on purpose. I didn't think that Gene did it on purpose because I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. But I discussed it with some people, and it seems as though he did it on purpose. And the more I read, the more I can believe that he did do it on purpose because he's not that great of a person. So Finney falls and he breaks his femur. I assume that it's his femur because that's the thing that breaks, and it's the most painful break because the femur is such a big bone. And anyway, when Gene goes to talk to Finney, I thought that was the most honorable thing that he could have done. But the fact that Finny didn't remember the conversation kind of made me upset, because I was like, man, he already went and talked to him. He already told him, and he already felt bad about it. So, I mean, would I go tell Finny again after I told him the first time? And I was like, hey, I broke you, and I ruined all your dreams. I'm sorry. But then he forgot. I wouldn't have mentioned it again. I'm like, I told him. That's my conscience. But that's just me. Anyway. Next thing I want to talk about is Leper. Leper, I like him. I like his character. I like that he had the will to learn, that he wanted to know. He liked knowledge. I like that. About, it's kind of sad that he lost his marbles. Really, it is. But he's more of a fun character now, because when I was reading him in the book before, it was kind of just like, oh, why is he in this book? But then he loses his marbles, and it's just like, oh, he's such a fun character. I love to see how he's, okay. I love to see how he reacts to things, and his brain, and how he's just laughing hysterically at really dumb things. Like, when Jean goes to visit Leper, I'm just wondering, how did he get out of school for that? Was it a weekend? How did he find Leper's place? Where did he get the money? Who allowed him to leave the school? I mean, when I was in boarding school, we weren't allowed to leave unless we had, like, an adult with us. And there was a whole bunch of forms for that, too. But, who let him leave by himself? That's just my question. So why didn't he go with Finny? I just don't understand. But anyway, he goes to see Leper. And Leper lost his marbles, and it's really funny, because he's the only one that knows what Jean did to Finny on the limb, and he's just like, oh yeah, you broke your best friend, ha 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 ha, and he's just laughing hysterically about it. I'm just like, oh man, he's such a great character. Can I be friends with Leper? We've made great friends. How about the scene where Finny convinces Jean that the war isn't really going on, that it's just all a lie? That was hilarious. He says, oh, the war's not real. This is my Finny voice. The war's not real. No, it's not my Finny voice. Finny's like, the war's not real. We've never seen the war. We haven't seen anything. They're just trying to make us better. They're trying to make us do things. So they're going to say that there's a war so we can work harder, which makes sense. In his brain, he's never seen anything from the war, except for, like, pictures, and it could be fake, right? Photoshop in the 1940s. Anyway, so it's all a conspiracy with the fat men in charge. That's so funny, because that one scene where his teacher comes up to me, he's like, are you ready for the war? And he's like, why does he believe so much that the war is a real thing? What is it? How come he wouldn't know? Oh, right, he's not fat. What? That's so funny. Bravo to the writer. That had to be my favorite scene. Another scene that I want to talk about. When Brinker kind of kidnaps Finny and Jean and forces them to be on trial. Like, what? Why? First of all, why is this your business, Brinker? Why do you care? What? What? Why? Okay? Not your business. If he just left it alone, everything would be fine. I'm pretty sure Jean would have told Phineas eventually. Right? Maybe. But, Finny would still be alive if Brinker had just left it alone. But no. Anyway. So Brinker calls Finny and Jean takes them away into this place, and Finny finally finds out that Jean is the one that made him fall off the limb, which is a sad scene, because Finny's actually mad, and you never really get to see him mad in the book, and he tries to run off, and poor Finny, he like falls and he breaks his leg again in the same place, and aww. Finny, I love Finny as a character. He's just the sweetest thing. But he's just so honest and genuine. And when he's your friend, he's gonna believe in you, whatever. Like, he's the best kind of friend to have. And And he's just such an adventurous soul, and he wanted to be in the army, he wanted to help people, he wanted to join the Olympics. I think that Finney is just the greatest. He would have done a lot of great things for the world if he had survived. This is what I think. And Gene, his character is he's so skeptical, and so it makes you wonder, like, what happened to him in the past to make him so skeptical of people, because he didn't trust that Finney was who he said he was, when we could all see that Finney was a genuine person. He was very sweet, and the only thing that I can think of that made Gene that way is that either he's a sociopath or something happened to him in the past that ruined him. We don't really get to hear about his family, his parents, so who knows. Anyway, so when Gene goes to visit Finney when he's in the hospital, and Finney yells at him, and he's like, "Did you come here to break something else?" And that made me sad, because they were just such great friends, and Gene does deserve to get yelled at. He does. But it's just to see that Finney was now corrupted, that he wasn't as, as sweet and innocent as he used to be. It just hurts. He's not the same person. He's different now. He's seen the world and how awful it is. And you kind of you want to protect him from that. You want to shield him from all that. And it's kind of sad that he doesn't get to live. So when Gene comes back the next day with Finney's stuff, and he's just like, "I forgive you," he forgives Gene. He says it had to be some kind of impulse. It was his idea, that it was an impulsive thing and not that he hated Finney. And Gene just went along with it. And just, he was so sweet. Can I have a best friend like that? Anyway. So Finney ends up forgiving Gene for making him fall and ruining his life. He couldn't join the war because of Gene. He couldn't join the Olympics because of Gene. And he forgave him. I mean, if that was me, I'd be like, don't talk to me. Don't touch me. Don't touch my stuff. Go to the war. Stand on the front line. Let everybody else duck. Okay. Sayonara. That would be me, but that's just me. But Finney forgave him, and because he's such a decent person. He's such a wholehearted character. Like, he's the best. When Gene finds out that Finney dies, it kind of makes you wonder, because Gene doesn't cry about his death, and he actually goes on to say that he left all his anger with Finney in his grave. And it makes you think, well, maybe Gene is a sociopath. That's what I thought. I was like, okay. When you can murder your best friend and not feel bad about it, there's a problem with you, I think. Maybe it's just me. If you agree, let me know. But so essentially, this book is pretty much the murder of a friend. I mean, I've been looking on the internet, and I found really good reactions to this book, and I found really bad reactions to this book. And but this is a reaction that I found that really had me thinking. Somebody asked the question, why did Finney have to die in the book? And I was thinking about it, and I was thinking, well, Finney just had to die because that makes the book better. Because if he didn't die, then what's the point of the book? So somebody asked, why does Finney have to die? And this person answered in such a smart way that it really had me thinking. So she put an analogy between Gene and Finney in the war. So Gene represents the people that started the war. So like Hitler and all the forces that be. And he's the one that caused Finney to fall in the first place, right? And Finney represents the people of the war, the people that have to fight for the war. He's the pure-hearted. He didn't do anything wrong. And Gene is the one that did something wrong, and he's the one that started this war. And Finney is the one that has to die and suffer, even though he's innocent. So, Gene, Hitler. Finney, veteran. It's a very smart way to think about it. I never thought about it that way. But that's brilliant. Whoever thought of that, you are brilliant, sir, or ma'am, or whoever you are. Brilliant. Tell me how you felt about the book. If you liked it, comment below. If you didn't like it, comment below. If you're just like, comment below. If you haven't read it, comment below. Pretty much just comment and leave comments, and like if you liked it, dislike if you don't like it. I'm fine with either. That was my book talk. I'll see you next week.